Hello, all. I am starting a new project, a 6 millimeter American Civil War. And so I have done some research on what miniature companies I wanted to go with. And the two that I've settled on is Adler and Bacchus, both based out of the United Kingdom. Um, I'm in the United States, so that presents a problem. I have to pay for shipping across the sea. I think Bacchus might have a presence at some of the Eastern conventions, but I just don't ever go to them. My job prevents me from getting away on the weekends, so I have to just do um, the old ship it by mail over the sea thing. So just kind of talking about that. So Adler has a pretty basic website. They have seems like they have a pretty good range of stuff for American Civil War. More poses, more figures in that way. Bacchus has less, but Bacchus has pictures on their website where Adler doesn't. So you can kind of see what you're getting when you purchase from Bacchus. Adler is harder to see and harder to find exactly what the miniatures are going to look like. When it came to purchasing from Adler, you have to make up a list, send it to the owner of the company by email, and then he sends you back when he's ready to ship them to you, and then he sends you a bill by PayPal. It was pretty simple and painless, a little archaic, but it worked. It was fine. Bacchus has kind of your standard miniature website. Um, Go there, click on what you want, add it to your cart, purchase it that way. Both were similar in time getting over, shipping, everything. It's kind of all the same. Adler was maybe a little bit faster if I had to be pressed. So, but both were good. So with that, I'm gonna now show you just kind of I'm gonna start with the raw miniatures, just what I got from the package, what they look like coming out of there with really me not touching anything. So just to help the camera focus, I'm gonna use this backdrop. So here you can see that I've kind of lined them up on the stick. A is for Adler, B is for Bacchus. You can kind of see that both are pretty similar. Scale-wise, Adler's a little taller, Bacchus is a little squattier. With that in mind, if you're going to have a lot of people touching these, if you're going to have running games at conventions and guys using your miniatures, then Bacchus is probably going to hold up a little bit better that way. Both have good detail. Bacchus probably has a bit more detail, but Adler's detail pops a little bit more. So I think Adler would be a little easier to paint maybe. But you can see the difference also in proportions on the horse, which is pretty huge on the cavalry. So both are good. I like both of them, but there's a subtle difference. Are you going to be able to tell the difference from 3 feet away, standing at the table and pointing? Probably not. But there is some. So moving on down the strip here, you can see that these are the miniatures that come out of the package, just the infantry line. So first, I think that pops out is really when I was looking at Adler miniatures, like there's just a lot of flash on the Adlers that I got. This is a pretty standard sprue from Adler, so a lot of cleanup there. The mold lines also have a little bit more flash on them, so a decent chunk of cleanup. That being said, Bacchus does have some cleanup. It has some mold lines, but the problem with the mold lines on Bacchus is they're just in these little tiny crevices. And so they are super hard to get in between these miniatures and actually get that mold line on there. You'll actually see that on the next sprue that's been painted and primed. So you can tell that out. But that's the biggest difference I saw, is that the Bacchus miniatures are cleaner as far as less mold lines, and there was really no flash on any of them. Adler, that's what you get. So that's fine. Going on to the sprue, same kind of miniatures basically, but I've primed them and then put a little wash over them and also cleaned them up, so taken off some of it. So here you can see the details a little bit better. I think side by side, you can kind of tell. Both of them are great. I mean, they're 6 millimeters, so I've seen 15 millimeters that are worse than these guys. Both are good. You can see on the Adler miniature there that I think the general has a stubby leg. So it's either been shot off or it was miscast. So, you know, there's just a few more parts that stick out there on Adlers. And like I said, Bacchus is a little bit more tight in grouping wise and just kind of beefy. Moving down the line to kind of straight on shots, I chopped off one of the Adlers and put it right beside the Bacchus so you can see it from the back. Again, Bacchus has more details on there. Adler's details pop a little bit better. Honestly, looking at it from here, Adler kind of looks like a 15 millimeter miniature that I've seen a lot of times, but both are good. So just kind of your flavor, I guess. Here is same thing, but Adler's 3x3 lined up, walking, and then I took one of the Bacchus and turned it on its side too. You can kind of see a little bit of that mold line on the Bacchus there, but when I flip it over here, you'll definitely be able to see it better. From this distance, you can definitely see what people have. The criticism of Adler's is the heads are a little bit big proportion-wise to the bodies. That definitely shows up, I think, on the side view. How that paints out and looks on a table, I'm not really for sure. So haven't seen it yet. So flipping it over, you can kind of see that we have the Bacchus with that definite mold line there that I wasn't able to get into even after I did clip it, so I'm sure I could have cleaned it up that way. But you know, Adlers are there. Moving down the line, you can see that Adler and Bacchus side by side. Again, the Bacchus has more details, but the Adler details pop a little bit more. I can just imagine the details just being easier to paint. You know, maybe not, but 25 years of painting miniatures tells me that's going to be the case. So here's just the other side of the leaders. You know, nothing big. It's about the same, but it gives you an idea on what you're looking at there. So both great miniatures. One of the biggest differences that I noticed when I purchased these is this right here. So this is a Bacchus Cannon. If I can ever get the camera to focus. This is how it comes. It just comes in one piece. So there's definitely mold lines. There's definitely a little bit of flash in some of those wagon wheels, but pretty good. One piece. That's the big thing, because this is how the Adler pieces come. They come in this big bag of stuff, and so I know there's a little glare on the plastic there, but you can see, you know, the cannon, and then you just got all these wagon wheels. So, you know, that's just no fun to sit there and glue those little guys together and do that. And still, Adler has a lot more flash on it, particularly on the wagon wheels, which are pretty tough to clean to begin with, even on bigger models. So that's the biggest thing that I've noticed. I'm going to be using Brigade Fire and Fury. So I think what I'm going to do is use the Adler miniatures for the damaged battery markers and just go from there. So I think that'll be simple. If I want to do cannons, straight up cannons, then I'm just going to use the Baccus. Both miniature companies, great, easy to deal with. I enjoy their models. They're both beautifully made. I mean, they're 6 millimeters, so it's just amazing to me that they're able to get this much detail in there. Both of them, I think, are good prices. You pay out the nose for shipping, but that's just how it's going to be. So there might be other places you can get these miniatures here in the States. I haven't been able to find them, but in my dealings with them, they were easy to get and easy to get over here. So anyways, I hope that was helpful and enjoyable for you, and I will talk to you later.